In this video, I'm about to show you 10 Monte Foods products you need to stay away from and why, and 5 you should actually trust, starting with number 10. Number 10? Del Monte Fruit Cocktail in Heavy Syrup. Let's start with something that's been sitting in American pantries since before most of us were born. Del Monte Fruit Cocktail in Heavy Syrup. This is one of those products that sounds harmless fruit, right? How bad can fruit be? Well, the moment you flip that can around and read what's actually in it, the answer is pretty bad. A single half-cup serving of this stuff contains 23 grams of sugar. 23. That's more sugar than you'll find in a standard Oreo cookie filling, and we're supposed to believe this is a healthy fruit snack. The heavy syrup they use is essentially high fructose corn syrup mixed with water and a sprinkle of fruit pieces that have been sitting in that liquid long enough to lose most of their natural nutrition in the 10-play process. Here's what really gets me. Del Monte actually markets some of their fruit products toward kids and seniors. The kind of folks who trust the label. The kind of folks who see fruit and think they're making a smart choice. But when you're getting 23 grams of sugar out of a half-cup serving, you might as well pour yourself a small glass of soda. The Centers for Disease Control recommends no more than 50 grams of added sugar per day for the average adult, and this one little half-cup knocks out nearly half that before you've even finished breakfast. There's nothing wholesome about that. Del Monte knows exactly what they're doing with that syrup, and it isn't looking out for your health. Number 9. Del Monte Tomato Ketchup. Now, ketchup is ketchup, right? Everybody's got a bottle in the fridge. But Del Monte's version deserves a closer look because the numbers here are not flattering. 1 tablespoon of Del Monte tomato ketchup contains 4 grams of sugar. 1 tablespoon. Most people are not using 1 tablespoon. They're pouring it. A generous squeeze can easily put you at 3 or 4 tablespoons in a single sitting. That's 16 grams of sugar just from condiment. What bothers me is that Del Monte's ketchup ingredient list features high fructose corn syrup as one of the primary sweeteners. The U.S. Corn industry's own data from 2021 showed that high fructose corn syrup consumption was already linked in multiple peer-reviewed studies to elevated triglyceride levels and liver stress when consumed regularly over time. Chan School of Public Health has specifically flagged high fructose corn syrup as a contributor to metabolic syndrome, and it's sitting right there in a bottle most Americans don't think twice about. Compare this to Heinz or even store-brand alternatives that at least use cane sugar, which the body processes differently, and you start to see that Del Monte isn't competing on quality here. They're competing on price and shelf space, and honestly, you deserve better than a ketchup that reads like a chemistry class project. For a couple extra dollars, you can do significantly better, and your pancreas will thank you. Number 8. Del Monte Canned Sweet Peas. You'd think canned peas would be one of the safest things in the grocery store. Simple, straightforward, no tricks. But Del Monte's standard canned sweet peas have a sodium problem that deserves to be called out directly. A single half-cup serving contains 360 milligrams of sodium. That's over 15% of the daily recommended sodium intake for an average adult in half a cup of peas. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, with an ideal target of 1,500 milligrams for adults over 50. The demographic watching this content, older Americans, people managing blood pressure, people trying to eat smarter on a fixed income, these are exactly the people who need to know this. Because if you're eating a full can, which plenty of people do as a side dish, you're looking at well over 700 milligrams of sodium from peas alone. Now, Del Monte does make a no-salt added version of their green beans, which we'll get to later, but their sweet peas line hasn't gotten the same treatment across the board. And their marketing doesn't make the sodium levels front and center. They put it in the fine print on the back in a font size designed to be ignored. This isn't an accident. They know who's buying this product, and they're not warning them loudly enough. For a population already dealing with hypertension at rates above 70% in adults over 65, this matters. Number 7. Del Monte Fruit Cup Snacks, Cherry Mixed Fruit. These little cups are marketed as grab-and-go convenience snacks, the kind of thing you'd toss in a lunch bag or eat as a quick dessert. And they look fine on the surface. Small portion, Fruit label, bright packaging? But pull back the foil and look at what's actually in there, and you'll see the same trick Del Monte pulls repeatedly: syrup. The cherry mixed fruit cup contains 17 grams of sugar per serving in a tiny 4-ounce container. The cherries used are maraschino style, meaning they've been chemically bleached and then dyed red using red 40 food dye, one of the most controversial artificial colorings still approved in the United States. The Center for Science in the Public Interest has petitioned the FDA multiple times to restrict or ban red 40 due to its potential behavioral effects in children and its connection to allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. And here's the kicker: these cups are specifically advertised as a healthy snacking choice for kids. There's a bright, cheerful design on the packaging, fruit imagery everywhere, and absolutely zero acknowledgement that you're basically handing someone a small container of sugar water with chemically colored fruit floating in it. If this were a candy product, the backlash would be immediate. But slap the word fruit on it and somehow it passes without anyone blinking. That's not a coincidence. That's strategy. Number 6. Del Monte tomato sauce. Regular Del Monte's regular tomato sauce is one of those pantry staples that seems totally innocent. Tomatoes, a little seasoning, a can, simple enough. But the sodium content on this one has been quietly off the charts for years. A half-cup serving contains 380 milligrams of sodium, and let's be real, nobody's using half a cup of tomato sauce on a full pasta dish. A realistic portion for a single serving of pasta or a pizza base is closer to 3/4 of a cup to a full cup, which pushes your sodium intake from this one ingredient alone past 550 milligrams. Now add the salt in your pasta water, salt in your ground beef, salt in your garlic bread, and suddenly your whole dinner has crossed the daily recommended sodium threshold before you've poured a glass of water. Del Monte has been aware of this for years. They've introduced some reduced sodium variations over time, but the regular version, which is still the most widely stocked and most frequently purchased, hasn't seen a meaningful reformulation. Conagra Brands, which competes directly with Del Monte in the canned tomato space, has made more visible efforts to reduce sodium across their Hunt's tomato sauce line. The fact that Del Monte hasn't prioritized this at the same scale tells you something about where their priorities are. It's not your blood pressure, it's their profit margin. Number 5. Del Monte canned corn. Cream style. Cream style corn sounds comforting, old-fashioned, like something your grandmother made at Thanksgiving. But Del Monte's version is loaded with added sugar and modified starch in a way that transforms what should be a simple vegetable into something closer to a sweetened side dish. A half-cup serving contains 9 grams of sugar. Compare that to whole kernel corn at around 5 grams. And the difference comes almost entirely from the sugar Del Monte adds to the cream sauce base. The modified cornstarch used as a thickening agent in this product has been flagged in multiple nutritional studies as a high glycemic ingredient that can cause rapid blood sugar spikes. For diabetic Americans, and according to the CDC, over 37 million Americans have diabetes, with disproportionate rates among adults over 65. This is a serious consideration. Del Monte doesn't flag this prominently anywhere on the standard packaging. What's particularly frustrating is that this product doesn't need the extra sugar. Corn is naturally sweet. The modification is completely unnecessary from a culinary standpoint. It exists to deepen the flavor hook, to make the product more addictive, to make you buy it again. That's the playbook. Take something natural, add sugar, add starch, lock in the repeat purchase, and let the consumer figure out the health consequences later. It's a tired game, and Del Monte has been running it for decades. Number 4. Del Monte Veggieful Pasta, Tomato and Basil. Del Monte launched their Veggieful line as what they called a better-for-you pasta product. Pastas made with vegetable-enriched dough, positioned directly at health-conscious shoppers and parents trying to sneak more vegetables into their family's diet. On the surface, it sounds like a company evolving in the right direction. But dig into the nutrition label and the actual vegetable content in the tomato and basil variety, and the picture gets less impressive very quickly. A serving of Del Monte Veggieful pasta contains 740 milligrams of sodium in a single serving of what's supposed to be a health-forward product. 740 milligrams. That's nearly 1/3 of the average adult's recommended daily sodium limit from a single bowl of pasta. The veggie enrichment they advertise? A 2019 independent product analysis found that the actual vegetable solids in similar enriched pasta products contribute less than 2% of any meaningful micronutrient value per serving once the pasta is cooked, drained. The branding here is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Big, colorful vegetables on the box, the word Veggieful prominently displayed, a clean green color scheme designed to trigger health associations. But the ingredient list tells a different story. Refined wheat flour, maltodextrin, high-sodium seasoning blends, and a vegetable powder content so minor it barely registers. Del Monte charged a premium price for this product in many markets when it launched. You were paying more for a health halo that didn't hold up. If that doesn't frustrate you, I don't know what will. Number 3. Del Monte Sunfresh Mandarin Oranges in light syrup. The Sunfresh line was positioned as Del Monte's answer to consumer demand for lighter, less processed fruit options. Light syrup instead of heavy syrup. A cleaner label. A fresher image. And compared to their heavy syrup products, yes, technically it is lighter. But light syrup is still syrup, and the Sunfresh Mandarin Oranges still deliver 19 grams of sugar per serving. Here's what makes this one particularly frustrating. Del Monte also produces a version of mandarin oranges packed in 100% juice, and the difference in sugar content is significant. The juice-packed version comes in at around 16 grams of naturally occurring sugar with no added syrups. The light syrup version adds refined sugar on top of the fruit's natural sweetness, pushing that number up. And in most grocery stores, the light syrup version is more prominently displayed and more heavily promoted than the juice-packed version. Why? Because syrup is cheaper to produce than actual juice. That's the whole story. It costs Del Monte less to fill the can with a water and sugar solution than with real mandarin juice, and they can still call it light and market it as a health-conscious choice. The average shopper sees light syrup versus heavy syrup and assumes they made the smart pick. Del Monte is counting on that assumption. They've built a pricing and placement strategy around it. That kind of calculated misdirection from a brand people have trusted for generations is exactly the type of behavior that should make anyone's blood boil. Number 2. Del Monte canned peaches and heavy syrup. We're getting close to the top, and this one deserves to be here because of how aggressively Del Monte markets it. Del Monte canned peaches and heavy syrup is one of the most purchased canned fruit products in the United States, consistently in the top 5 canned fruit SKUs by volume, according to retail data from Spin's market research. That means millions of Americans are buying this product regularly, often under the assumption that canned peaches are a reasonable fruit option. A single half-cup serving contains 26 grams of sugar. 26. The heavy syrup, primarily comprised of high-fructose corn syrup, contributes around 14 of those grams on top of the peach's natural sugar content. A full cup, which is a realistic serving for an adult eating this as a dessert or snack, pushes you past 50 grams of sugar in one sitting. That's the entire recommended daily added sugar limit for an average adult in one bowl of peaches. The peaches themselves, after sitting in that syrup solution during the canning and shelf storage process, lose significant amounts of their water-soluble vitamins, particularly vitamin C and several B vitamins. A 2018 nutritional comparison study published in the Journal of Food Science found that canned fruits stored in syrup showed up to 60% lower vitamin C retention compared to fresh or frozen equivalents. So, you're getting the sugar load without most of the nutritional upside. Del Monte doesn't advertise that on the label. They put a picture of a ripe golden peach on the front and let you fill in the rest. Number 1. Del Monte Fruit Burst Squeezers. And here we are, number 1 on the list. Del Monte Fruit Burst Squeezers, the squeezable fruit tubes that Del Monte specifically targets at children. These products are sold in multi-pack formats, heavily marketed through family-focused advertising, and shelved at children's eye level in the produce-adjacent sections of major grocery chains to give the impression of fresh fruit proximity. Each tube contains 11 grams of sugar in a serving that takes roughly 30 seconds to consume. The product uses concentrated fruit purees, meaning the fiber that would slow sugar absorption in whole fruit has been largely removed, combined with added sugars and citric acid. The glycemic impact of a concentrated fruit puree with added sugar and no fiber is significantly higher than eating an actual piece of fruit. Yet Del Monte's marketing materials have repeatedly used language like "made with real fruit" to position this as a nutritious choice. The Campaign for a Commercial-Free Childhood, along with multiple pediatric nutrition advocacy groups, has specifically called out squeezable fruit products like these for contributing to early sugar habituation in children, training young palates to expect intense sweetness and reducing acceptance of naturally low-sugar whole foods over time. A 2022 review in the journal Appetite found that children regularly consuming heavily sweetened fruit products showed measurably lower preference for unsweetened fruits and vegetables compared to control groups. This is the #1 pick not because it's the most sodium-heavy or the most chemically complex on this list. It's #1 because it's deliberately aimed at kids, dressed up as health food, and it's teaching the youngest and most vulnerable consumers to associate fruit with sugar loading. That's not just poor nutrition, that's a long-term public health decision being made by a corporation for the sake of market share. And that should make every parent and grandparent watching this genuinely angry. Alright, that's the 10 products from Del Monte's lineup that I'd steer clear of. And look, this isn't about hating a brand for the sake of it. Del Monte has been around since 1886. That's almost 140 years. And the honest truth is that buried inside that same catalog are products that actually hold up. Products where they kept it simple, kept it clean, and didn't try to dress up sugar water as something nutritious. So let's give credit where it's due. Here are 5 Del Monte products that are genuinely worth your money. Number 5. Del Monte No Salt Added Canned Tomatoes. This one's straightforward, and that's exactly why it earns a spot here. Del Monte's No Salt Added Whole Peeled Tomatoes contains one ingredient: tomatoes. That's it. No salt, no added sugar, no preservative blend, no modified starch, just tomatoes in their own juice. A half-cup serving contains only 20 milligrams of naturally occurring sodium, a dramatic difference from the 380+ milligrams in their regular tomato sauce. For anyone managing hypertension, cooking for elderly family members, or just trying to control what goes into a homemade sauce, this product is genuinely useful. Tomatoes are one of the best dietary sources of lycopene, an antioxidant that multiple studies, including a landmark long-term analysis from Harvard Medical School, have associated with reduced risk of certain cancers and cardiovascular disease. And when tomatoes are heat processed through canning, lycopene actually becomes more bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs it more easily than from raw tomatoes. Del Monte's no-salt version preserves all of that, without layering on unnecessary additives. Clean product, honest label. This is what canned food should look like. Number 4. Del Monte Blue Lake Cut Green Beans, no salt added. Blue Lake is a specific variety of green bean developed through traditional agricultural breeding at Oregon State University and recognized for its tender texture, consistent flavor, and lower fiber toughness compared to standard field beans. Del Monte's Blue Lake Cut green beans in the no salt added variety takes a genuinely superior ingredient and handles it well. Per half cup serving, 20 calories, 0 grams of fat, 0 grams of added sugar, and only 10 milligrams of naturally occurring sodium. Green beans are a solid source of vitamin K, with a full cup providing over 20% of the recommended daily intake, important for bone health and blood clotting function, particularly for older adults on certain medications who need to monitor their vitamin K intake. The Blue Lake variety specifically retains texture better through the canning process than standard green bean cultivars, which means you're not getting the mushy, waterlogged consistency that makes canned vegetables unpopular. This is a product where Del Monte used a better ingredient, left it alone, and produced something worth putting in your cart. Give them that. Number 3. Del Monte Canned Pumpkin. This one might surprise people, but hear it out. Del Monte's canned pumpkin, and it is worth checking that you're getting the pure pumpkin, not. The pie filling mix is one of the most nutrient-dense canned products available in any American grocery store at any price point. A half-cup serving delivers over 200% of the recommended daily value of vitamin A, primarily through beta-carotene, which the body converts as needed. It also provides 3 grams of dietary fiber per serving, meaningful potassium levels, and only 40 calories. The ingredient list on Del Monte's pure canned pumpkin is pumpkin, 1 ingredient. No salt, no sugar, no thickeners, no color additives. For anyone dealing with digestive issues, and fiber deficiency is one of the most common nutritional gaps among Americans over 65, according to the National Institute on Aging. This is a practical, affordable, genuinely useful food. Add it to oatmeal, mix it into a smoothie, use it as a base for soup. At under $2 a can in most markets, the nutritional value per dollar here is hard to beat. Del Monte got this one right. Number 2. Del Monte diced tomatoes with basil, garlic, and oregano. Here's a seasoned product that actually earns its flavoring. Del Monte's diced tomatoes with basil, garlic, and oregano uses real herb and spice ingredients, not artificial flavor compounds, to build a genuinely useful cooking base. The sodium is higher than the no salt line at around 360 milligrams per half cup, but for a seasoned, ready-to-use cooking tomato, that's within a reasonable range when used as part of a balanced dish rather than eaten straight. The lycopene content in diced tomatoes is preserved effectively through the canning process, and the garlic component brings allicin, a naturally occurring compound that a 2016 Cochrane review found to be associated with modest but measurable reductions in blood pressure in hypertensive individuals. This product is genuinely practical. You can build a pasta sauce, a shakshuka, a soup base, or a braised dish directly from this can without reaching for multiple additional seasonings. It's convenient without being deceptive. The herbs and spices listed on the label are real, the tomatoes are real, and the price point keeps it accessible. In a product line full of sugar-loaded shortcuts, this one feels like the real deal. Number 1. Del Monte Light Sliced Peaches in Water. And the number 1 Del Monte product worth buying is their Light Sliced Peaches in Water, and this is not a complicated pick. This is the version of canned peaches that should have been the standard all along. Instead of heavy syrup or even light syrup, these peaches are packed in water with a small amount of fruit juice concentrate. The result? 10 grams of sugar per serving, almost entirely from the peach itself, compared to 26 in the heavy syrup version. No high fructose corn syrup, no refined sugar addition, just peaches in water. This product shows that Del Monte is capable of producing a canned fruit option that doesn't require a sugar overload. It's frustrating that this version doesn't receive the same shelf prominence or marketing investment as the syrup-packed varieties in most Walmart and Kroger stores. The heavy syrup version occupies 2 to 3 times more shelf space than the water-packed version. That's a deliberate retail strategy. They know the syrup version moves faster because people gravitate towards sweetness. But the light and water version is genuinely the better product from every measurable nutritional standpoint. Good fiber, real fruit, sensible sugar content, widely available, affordable. If you're buying canned peaches, and there's nothing wrong with canned peaches, this is the one to reach for. That's the honest truth.